Hi, my name's Shola Kaye. I'm a public speaking coach based in London, and my business is called Speak Up Like a Diva and Speak Up and Shine. And today I want to talk about making a speech for a special occasion. Whether you're going to be a best man, whether you're sadly speaking at a funeral and delivering a eulogy, maybe you're the father of the bride. But I want to just share with you a few considerations to keep in mind when you're called upon to make one of those special occasion speeches. Now, just recently I've worked with a couple of people who have had to step forward at special occasions. One was somebody who had to speak at her cousin's funeral, and another one was a father who was going to be giving his bride away at her wedding. And both of them came to me feeling a little bit nervous, and even though in the workplace they had to make speeches quite frequently, there were certain things that were sort of troubling them a little bit about having to speak at such important special occasions with so many people present. So some of the tips that I shared with them are as follows. Now, the first one is this, and it's of course to give yourself as much time as you possibly can. Now, of course, in the situation of father of the bride, best man, you've got plenty of time to get things right, to write the talk and to rehearse it. Now, unfortunately, in the case of a eulogy, quite often people leave us unexpectedly. And so we're under pressure not only to get this presentation sorted, but of course we're in a situation where we're grieving, we're having to take care of family matters and making sure that everything's sorted out as this person has moved on. So I can't say that across the board you have to give yourself plenty of time, because we don't always have that, but give yourself as much time as you possibly can. Now, in one of these situations, I had somebody leave the presentation, leave the eulogy until the very, very last minute. And let's say the eulogy was on a Friday, I got a call on a Wednesday saying, can you help me? I really need some help, whether it's today or tomorrow. The funeral's on Friday. And I was able to rearrange my schedule a little bit to help this person, and we had a couple of hours together. But what was awful for her was not only had she lost a family member, but she had this period for a couple of weeks where she couldn't sleep because she was so concerned about having to give this eulogy. So if you are sadly in a circumstance where this happens and you know that you don't enjoy giving presentations, then if you can find help as soon as you can, that will help just take one of the problems away from you, whereas at least you can know that you'll do the best that you can delivering that eulogy, and you can focus on some of the other important areas that you need to focus on at that time. Now, the second point is about the pressure that people often face. Now, my clients often say to me, I'm happy giving presentations at work, but when it's my friends or family in the audience, it feels so much worse to me. I feel like they all know me and that I'm under much more pressure. So what I want you to think about there is the fact that these people in the audience, your friends, your family, these are people who love you. They're people who support you. And most likely, if they see you in a slightly different light, maybe you're not a sort of witty kind of speaker when you're with them because you're just casually doing a bit of chit chat, and then when you have the time to rehearse a speech and write it out in advance, then suddenly you're throwing in some jokes, you've got some zingy lines there, or perhaps you just come across as having a slightly different persona when you're on stage versus when you're with them. Understand that they most likely will support you, and they'll be there behind you and really interested in this new persona that you're bringing to the table, or bringing to the lectern in this particular case, or to the stage. If there are people that you feel might throw up roadblocks or be particularly judgmental of you, there's nothing wrong with having a chat to them beforehand and saying, oh, hey Gran, I hope you're going to enjoy my talk a little bit later on today. I'm doing something a bit different. I'd love to get your opinion later on. So if you know that there are particular characters that might be a little bit thorny or difficult, as I say, nothing wrong with dividing and conquering. Just chat to them beforehand, let them know what's going on, and bring them in. Say, well, I'd love to get your feedback, or, oh, I'm doing something different today. I'd love to hear what you think. And that way it won't be such a surprise to them, and maybe they won't be as judgmental or vocal about things as you might fear that they would be. Now, the third point is this, and when I was speaking to this father of the bride who was about to preparing to make this presentation, I said to him, well, who would you like to be? What is your best self? Are you somebody who's quite witty and jovial, or are you somebody who's sort of very heartfelt and it's a very emotional occasion for you that your only daughter is getting married? And I want you to think about who you are and then inject that into your presentation, into your talk, your speech, so that you really feel that it represents who you are as a person, and it's not just a string of words that have been put together because you found an article online about the best way to make a father of the bride speech and you're just going through the motions. Really important to bring as much as yourself into that talk, into that speech, as you possibly can, so that not only are the words indicative of what you're trying to convey, but also who you are is sort of threaded through that speech, and you feel that it really represents you fully. So I hope that helps. Those are 3 tips if you have to make an occasion speech. First of all, give yourself enough time. Secondly, if you're feeling under pressure, feel free to speak to some of those individuals ahead of time and let them know what's coming, so that you get them on side rather than worrying about them judging you, which they probably aren't anyway. But rather than worrying about that, put the feelers out, chat to people beforehand so they know what's coming, so you can relax and know that you're not shocking people, or it's really more for your peace of mind than for theirs, quite honestly. And then the final thing is to understand who is your best self. Who do you want to be when you're on that stage? If you give yourself enough time to prepare, you can be anyone. But I advise that who the person is that you choose to be is, the best version of you. And then you can really relax and enjoy yourself, because you know that you're putting yourself out there in the best light, but still as you. You're not trying to pretend to be somebody that you're not. And I talk about this idea of being your best self, your authentic self, as a speaker in a couple of my courses. So my Get Clients with Speaking has a module on being an authentic speaker, as does my course 6 Weeks to Speaking Success. So if you're interested in either of those, they are here on this website. But I hope that you enjoy your occasion speech, and whether it's a sad occasion or not, I hope that you at least enjoy the fullness of being up there in front of that audience and saying what you've got to say and being the best version of yourself. Take care.